Hello, everyone. My name is John Craik, and I'm a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner. I'm excited to bring you this video today, which is some highlights and an overview of a recent QHHT session that I conducted. My purpose in sharing these videos is to allow you kind of a little bit behind the curtain on QHHT and the process, what you can expect and how it works. And I will tell you that when individuals come in for a QHHT session, they will have a list of questions that they would like some insight and answers on, and very often specific healing requests. Now, the energy that we're working with in QHHT is your soul, your higher self, and what Dolores Cannon referred to as the subconscious. And this is the aspect of you that knows your entire soul history, every lifetime, every experience you've ever had, and the specific lessons and blueprint that you chose for this current lifetime. So when we go into a QHHT session, we're asking the soul, the higher self, the subconscious to show the individual the most appropriate time and place so that they may receive the information they need to get answers to their questions, to receive healing on the specific issues that they brought in, and to learn and grow at the point they are at in their life journey. Now, QHHT facilitates this by bringing people into a very, very relaxed state, a deep state of trance where they have access to this past life memory and experience. So when we bring someone into this space in the past life, one of the first things we want to do is anchor them into whatever experience they're having, whatever lifetime or experience they're having. So this could be their immediate surroundings, where they are and what they're doing, the body that they're in, whether it is young or old, whether it is male or female, whether the body is healthy. And that helps to anchor the client and the consciousness fully into that experience after this process of the induction and this relaxation and going into that access point of all of these different soul experiences that they could choose to focus on and go into. So once we do that, we also want to know about the circumstances of that particular lifetime. So we will visit, if we can, with where their home is, whether they have family, and how they spend most of their time, depending on the time period. That could be a job. If it's a time period where a job isn't really an appropriate term, it's just where most of the focus of their energy goes in that lifetime. And after we start that process, we can move to some other significant points in their lifetime to really understand and try to plumb the depths of what the higher self and the subconscious, the soul, wants the individual to see and experience, and to be able to show how it's related to this current lifetime. In this first segment, this is going to be the very first part of moving into a lifetime, and you're going to get a sense of what that process is like and some of the questions we ask, and begin to get an idea about what this particular lifetime is about.
Mm-hmm. And like the dirt is almost like kind of sticky, like moistish.
Yeah.
It's very jungly.
Look around and see what you see around you.
There's a wooden, kind of like a treehousey thing.
Like a treehouse?
Yeah.
Could you describe it?
Long wooden beams.
Yeah.
Medium colored wood.
Yeah.
And it's got like an interesting kind of angular shape to it.
Yeah. Do you know what this building is for?
I think it's a home.
A home. else is around you? What else are you noticing?
There's like a kind of like a muddy lagoon where there's like alligators and different things like that.
Yeah. Do you have a sense of a body? I asked you to look down and look at your feet. Can you see your feet?
Yeah, I do have like tannish bare feet.
Yeah. What about your legs?
I definitely feel I'm in a man's body.
Yeah. Young or old?
Young-ish.
Yeah.
I would say 13.
Yeah. And how does your body feel? Does it feel healthy?
It feels a little knobby.
Knobby. What is...
Definitely not wearing a lot of clothes.
Yeah. Are you wearing anything?
Yeah, like a loincloth.
Uh-huh.
My toes are kind of like bulbous.
Bulbous.
I don't know, like
Yeah, they're big.
the rounding of my actual toes is, I don't know, like slightly larger.
Yeah.
And like my knuckles and my knees and my elbows are like, yeah, knobby.
I see. What about your head? Is there anything on your, wearing anything on your head? Is there anything on your head?
No, but dark hair.
Yeah.
Like almost black.
What about jewelry? Are you wearing any?
Feels like I could be wearing some sort of something around my neck, but
Yeah. And are you carrying anything?
a wooden pole on my back that I think is like a weapon / walking stick / whatever it needs to be.
Yeah. And are you alone in this space? You mentioned the alligators in the lagoon, but is there anyone else around you?
No, it does feel like there is a village.
Yeah. And you know why you're in this space?
I'm just out.
You're just out. And how do you feel being in this location and where you're at?
I feel like I've been told to watch out for the alligator lagoon.
I see.
But there's a way that I think I know that I've crossed it, but it's like, it's something that I know how to do and I do it, but it's kind of dangerous.
Yeah. Did someone teach you that? Or is that something you learned?
How to cross it?
Yeah.
I think I learned it, but other people could do it.
I see.
Like I somehow can use that pole to kind of jump across, like putting it, like I reach it down, press it into the earth and kind of catapult myself.
I see.
And I feel like I've been warned by my mother.
I see.
Yeah, it feels like I'm out to get fish.
How do you do that? There's fish. Where are the fish?
There's rivers.
Mm-hmm. That's different than the lagoon?
Yeah, but they're all kind of, feels like they're somewhat interconnected.
I see.
Different parts and different things.
And how do you fish? How do you catch the fish?
Sometimes just with it feels like I either make things out of like reeds, and then I'm getting, sometimes I try to catch them with my hands.
Yeah.
And I've succeeded before.
Catching with your hands. Yeah.
But I can make nets and do different things with the reeds.
I see.
Yeah, then, and I can make a basket with the reeds. It's kind of like a net basket. And that I can use to carry them.
After you catch them? Yeah.
I get the sense that it's about to rain. And I know it by the feeling of the air.
You can tell?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it smell like there?
Like the jungle.
Yeah.
Like the rainforest.
So I'd like you to go to where you live. Can we go to where you live?
Yeah.
And I'd like you to stand outside of it. And can you describe where you live and what it looks like?
Yeah, it looks like a almost looks like one of those hats that they wear in the race fields. Kind of has that look to it. It's like a little short and stubby with that kind of a roof.
I see.
I think made with straw and different things.
Yeah. And is it close to any other structures?
Yeah, I do get a sense that there's other ones that I'm not getting it.
Yeah, you can't see them. And how do you enter this space where you live?
It's an opening in the jungle.
Yeah. It's an opening in the jungle.
So it seems like.
I see. And could you go inside and tell me what it's like inside?
It's like a place for, I don't know, it's like drying fish or something.
Drying fish?
Yeah, or like things are like hung.
Or
maybe that's where I hang the fish. I don't know.
I see. You dry them out, the fish, after you catch it?
Yeah, there's different things hanging.
Yeah.
Like herbs and.
What about the floor? If you look down at the floor, what's the floor look like?
Earth.
Earth. And the walls?
And some stones.
Some stones too.
The walls also seem like they're straw.
Yeah.
I am getting the presence of one cow. I don't know where this cow is coming from.
Yeah, nearby. Is it your cow?
I wouldn't say it's mine. But it's like a revered being.
You respect the cow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is it revered?
Because they are. It's like in India.
I see.
Like their bringer, like it's like their bringer of life.
Yeah.
They're almost looked at as godly.
Yeah. And do you live alone? Or is some other people?
I get a sense that I have a mother.
Uh-huh.
And a sister.
Uh-huh.
Younger.
A younger sister?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And mom and sister stay. I feel like they do more of the things like food preparing, and I go out and I get the stuff.
Yeah, so they live there with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what kind of food do you eat?
Lots of fish.
Yeah.
And different herbs and greens.
Mm-hmm. And where do you get the grains and the herbs?
They just grow.
Yeah. Grow somewhere.
Yeah, and it's like something that's just passed down. You just know what things to eat. There's nuts.
Nuts too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like little things that you learn, like different berries that are safe to eat.
Yeah, some aren't safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you can tell by looking at them?
Yeah, and there's also just there is a different like heightened energetic awareness of if something is good or not.
You can feel that?
Mm-hmm.
How did you learn to do that?
It's just inherent.
Yeah.
Although it is taught, but it's also inherent.
Yeah. Someone taught you or helped you develop
Yeah, it's just something that you do when you're a kid.
Yeah. And how do you experience that?
You walk through the jungle with your parent and they just point things out and you get to try the little things and
yeah. What about the sensing energy? How do you experience sensing energy?
It's like a remembrance that happens
Yeah.
in that experience.
A remembrance
of just knowing.
I see. And this food, the herbs and the fish, how do you prepare the food? Or who prepares the food?
Mom.
Yeah. Where does she do that?
In this area, in this open area.
Yeah. And does she...
Seems like there's different methods that we don't have. Different methods, like, I get that it's wet there.
Mm-hmm. The environment's wet?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it rains a lot?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why there's just different methods that have been figured out, because I guess fire can happen, but it's like coals underground or something.
Yeah.
Like different things are able to be used to either preserve or cook.
I see. Is that why it's important to dry the fish?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they last longer that way.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Do you treat the fish with anything, or?
Getting that there's natural salts.
Yeah. So, and how do you spend most of your time?
Out in the jungle.
Doing?
Food collecting.
Yeah.
Just having fun, playing around with things, kind of being mischievous.
Being mischievous, how do you do that?
Just like swinging on trees and doing different things like that.
Yeah. And where you live, it's a part of a community?
It does feel like there is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like it's very big.
Yeah. I see. And what about a father? Do you have a father?
I don't get that sense.
Yeah.
the older men might go out for longer periods of time for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Do you know where they go?
I mean, to hunt.
Yeah. Something different than fish?
Mm-hmm.
You know what they
But
hunt?
it takes like a long time.
I see.
I don't know if what I get is that might be the story that my mother tells. I don't know if that's the truth.
That that's where they go?
Yeah, or that she just keeps hoping he's going to come back, but
So you do have a father, he's just not there?
yeah.
Yeah. So you just saw in that last segment how we anchor the individual into the lifetime and then establish the foundation and some of the details of that lifetime. What kind of body they have, what their gender is, where they live, how they spend most of their time, whether they have family or not, and some of those general circumstances. And once we've established that, we want to move the individual usually to 3 significant or important times or events in their life, something that they and their soul feels is a significant day or event in that life to really get to the root of the richness and the particulars of the experience of that lifetime that the soul or the subconscious is trying to show that individual. Sometimes when we move ahead, it's a pretty tranquil transition, and sometimes the individual gets dropped into an experience that is quite kinetic or chaotic, or that there's a lot that is going on. And that's what occurs in this session. Actually goes to a time when there was a stampede of wild boars that was going through the village and what that experience was like. And it transitions in this same portion to a time, kind of a rite of passage, when this individual, this boy, becomes a man, is able to join the elders in a hunting party, and talking a little bit about the significance of that. What is happening? What do you see?
There's like a stampede of wild boars.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like just charging through the community.
Yeah, where are you?
Up in a tree.
Yeah. And how are you feeling? Watching this, witnessing this?
I'm just hoping that my mom and sister are safe, but I get that they are.
Yeah, do you know where they are?
They're in the hut.
Yeah.
They're like hiding.
And is this something that happens often, or?
I get a sense that there's like, it's almost like anything can happen in the jungle.
Yeah.
But they're definitely destroying things.
What are they destroying?
Just everything that's in their path.
Yeah. Parts of the village?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Other huts?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any other people? Can you see any other people?
No.
No. Any other villagers?
No, not yet.
Yeah. Has this ever happened before?
I get a sense that, yeah. I'm not sure though.
Yeah. So move forward a little bit. What happens next?
I'm not really getting much.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting that I'm wearing like more of a face paint kind of a thing. More of like kind of like a group of warriors.
That you're part of a group of warriors?
Mm-hmm.
And do you recognize these other warriors?
They all look the same.
Yeah. But do you know them?
I'm hearing they're my elders.
Your elders. And you're gathered with them?
Yeah, we're gonna go hunt.
What are you gonna hunt?
Things like the wild boars.
Yeah. And have you hunted with them before?
Yeah, I do this now.
Yeah. You said you do it now.
Because I'm old enough.
Yeah. And who decides when you're ready to hunt with the elders?
It's just a known thing.
Yeah. And how is that? Is that recognized in some way? Is there some kind of ritual, or you just know?
It's just an age. Yeah, you just know. Yeah, I think there's like some sort of becoming a man thing.
Yeah. I see. And how do you feel to be getting ready to go on the hunt?
I feel fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm like very agile.
Yeah. Did someone teach you how to hunt?
Yeah, you learn when you're young.
I see. So once we have explored a particular event or day as much as we can, it's time to move on or to another important day or event. This next jump is quite a significant jump in years in age, and at this point the individual is an elder in the community. Now in the previous sections they talked about how the process of learning through this community, where the elders or the mother or the parents taught the younger individuals how to, what was safe to eat, how to hunt, some of the rituals and the herbs that they can consume and which were not safe to consume. And you'll find at this point in this lifetime that this individual has moved into that elder stage and spends a lot of time telling stories to the children. Another very significant thing, which is going to be important when we move into the subconscious, and the purpose of this lifetime is when she discusses spending a lot of time communing with spirit and the ancestors, and this connection to the stars, where she says it's very accepted and understood about the reincarnation cycle, and that these spirits and ancestors, that there's a continuous line and connection, and that line is never broken, and that through the intuitive skills, through extrasensory abilities, which are also going to become important a little later as you watch through this video, are something that are accepted and fostered in this community. So you'll see, this transition to to kind of an elder statesman of this tribe and community, and what that signifies.
I get that I'm this elder, and I'm like smoking the herbs.
Smoking the herbs?
Like some of the dried herbs. But I'm like a recognized elder at this point.
Yeah. And where are you?
In the same village.
Yeah. And are you alone?
No, there's actually more people now.
In the village?
There's like kids that sit around and listen to stories.
Yeah. Who tells the stories?
I do.
And what kind of stories do you tell them?
Stories of going out and hunting, and the moments, those recognized moments of the things that happen when you're out there.
Yeah. And why do you tell these stories to them?
Because they like it.
Yeah.
It's fun for me.
To tell the stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And do you recognize any of these?
They're all like 5-ish years old.
Yeah. And just members of your community?
Yeah, they remind me of myself at that age.
Yeah. And are there other elders like you?
A few.
Yeah.
A few. I think I'm the oldest, though.
I see. And how do you feel about being able to share these stories?
I love it.
Yeah.
Because it's rare. It feels like it's rare. Usually, like the percentage of men that I don't think really live to that age.
Yeah. And do you have a sense of where your sister is now?
Yeah, there's one old lady, and I believe that's her.
Yeah. And can you
But
tell me?
she's like, she can't, I think she's like deaf and all kinds of things.
She's not healthy?
It's not that she's not healthy, she's just kind of crunched over and
yeah.
Definitely elderly.
And does she have a family? Do you have a family other than that?
I don't get that we do.
Yeah. And your mom?
She's no longer alive.
Yeah. And how do you spend most of your time now?
Just talking to the kids and it's very like simple. Just kind of reminiscing about things. There's lots of spirit connection.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I mean it's very like the knowing that when someone leaves their body that their spirit remains, and so you're always doing little rituals of remembrance of the ancestors.
How do you do that? What are the rituals like?
Just prayer, communication.
Uh-huh.
There's just a knowing. It feels like there's a knowing of their presence, like they never left.
I see.
And I also get a communication with the stars.
Can you talk about that? You're in touch with, when you say communication with the stars, what do you mean by that?
It's just knowing that the night sky comes alive and that there's almost like there's stories to be told just by looking at the sky.
What kind of stories?
Stories of just ancestral memories.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this idea that they somehow speak through the stars.
Yeah. And do you have that experience when you look at the night sky?
Yes.
And you feel like you're receiving communication when you do that?
Yeah.
What does that feel like? Or how do you communicate?
It's just telepathic. It's just a knowing, and it's very like endearing.
Endearing.
Like it warms the heart.
Yeah. And you know who you're communicating with?
There will be times where faces will appear, and it feels like the night sky is very active. Like there's lots of shooting stars and.
Uh-huh. And the sky's clear where you're at?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shooting stars, anything else?
No, I just hear it's alive. It's very alive.
Very alive. And these faces that you said, you get images of faces sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what those look like?
It's just ancestral faces.
Yeah.
It's like those that have lived before, and I get that there's an awareness of the incarnation cycle of spirits as well.
Yeah. Can you tell me about that?
That there's just the knowing that spirits are incarnated. Past ancestral spirits are incarnated.
Yeah.
And sometimes you know. You just know.
You just know those who have come again?
Yeah.
I see. And is that spoken of?
Yep.
Yeah. I see. So in this next segment, which is the final segment that I'm going to share from the past life regression portion of this QHHT session, the individual actually moves to the point right after they have passed. So this is actually right after the last day, the last moments of their lifetime, and talk a little bit about the process. One of the reasons we try to bring someone through the death scene of that lifetime is that it often holds a significant emotional and soul level imprint on people, and some of those things based on how they died or whether it was traumatic, the circumstance of it can leave an imprint and be impacting or playing out in some way or some capacity in the current lifetime. You'll notice in what we're about to experience that it was actually it's going to be a very smooth transition, and I actually have to bring her back right before that transition to find out what the circumstances of the passing was. The other thing that's really important in this is that from the other side of on the other side of the death experience, we can get to the perspective on what the lesson and purpose of the lifetime was. Now, every life that your soul chooses, every experience is for a reason, and it's to learn a lesson and it has a purpose. And the purpose of this lifetime, you're going to find out, was about really owning and experiencing those extrasensory abilities and intuition, and also the ability to use the regular senses to really experience and take in and enjoy the richness of life and the planet and living. You won't feel any physical discomfort. You can just talk about it.
It just feels like I'm here and then I'm not.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like I just went sitting up. Like doing what I normally do.
Yeah. Did you feel ready?
Yeah. It's just like spirit leaves the body.
Yeah.
And I feel like I knew.
Yeah. And was anyone with you?
Yeah, there were some kisses on the hands from the kids and the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, whatever happened has already happened, and you are on the other side of it. From that position, you can look back at the entire life and see it from a different perspective. Every life has a lesson and a purpose. As you look at the life, what did you learn from it?
Extrasensory abilities.
You learned extrasensory abilities?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Even just in the regular senses, a real deep like connection and gratitude to tastes and to smells,
Yeah.
to textures.
Yeah. And what do you think was the purpose of that lifetime?
To learn that, because that has been a skill for many lifetimes, needed for many lifetimes.
That you've needed for many lifetimes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a skill you carried forward and applied?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like my soul knew that that was missing.
The experience with
Of the
learning to do that?
extrasensory abilities
I see.
and spirit communication.
I see. So once we've moved an individual through their death scene, taken them to the other side, and heard from their perspective what the lesson and purpose of that lifetime or experience was. It's time to invite in their subconscious and hear from the subconscious's perspective why they showed that particular lifetime. Now, again, the subconscious has access to the entire soul history of this individual and chose a very specific experience or lifetime, sometimes lifetimes, to show them. So we want to ask the subconscious from its perspective and with its intention why it did that. And also why or how that experience, that past lifetime or experience, is relevant to the current lifetime. Perhaps the theme of the lifetime, lessons that the soul is hoping to learn in the current lifetime, or some issues that they're experiencing. And what you're going to see in this next segment is this theme about extrasensory perception and abilities and the use of intuition and fully taking in the totality with all of the senses and experiencing lifetime is related to this current lifetime. And that in fact, there has been kind of a block or a resistance to fully trusting and using those abilities. And when something like that comes up, we have to ask the subconscious, what is causing that? What is causing that block? What is causing that impediment? And it will tell us what the cause is. And then we want to know when that circumstance started. Did it start in this lifetime? Is that something that went through many different lifetimes? And then we want to know, because all this is purposeful, what was the soul hoping to learn through manifesting that experience? And once we're able to get to the bottom of what the lesson is and ask whether the soul has learned the lesson, the individual has learned the lesson they set out to learn, then we can invite the subconscious in to heal that issue. And what we found in the QHHT work is once you get to the basis of what the emotion that's being experienced, what the precipitating event was, and being able to see it and process it from that higher perspective, that the physical manifestation, the emotional manifestation is able to leave the body and be healed. We'll also see in some further segments that this process is a lot like peeling an onion. The way that the soul crafts a life in the lessons and the circumstances is really extraordinary. It's so incredibly layered and connected, and it has such a wisdom in the way that it is constructed that it's really quite humbling to observe. So my job as a QHHT practitioner is to ask good questions and continue to drill down to what the foundational events or causes of things are. And sometimes it's a process, and it takes some back and forth and some question to get to what those roots are. Do I have permission to ask questions?
Yes.
I know the subconscious could have brought forth many different lifetimes for Kema to see today. You chose to bring forward this life for her to see. Why did you pick that lifetime?
Because on some level there's a denial of her own gifts.
A denial of her own gifts?
Mm-hmm.
How is she denying her own gifts?
I think what I'm getting is there's a normalization. And so she potentially doesn't see the value.
The value of what?
Of the gifts.
Yeah.
Of the extrasensory gifts.
When you say the normalization, what do you mean by that?
She thinks everyone has them. The same way she does.
I see. And is that true?
No.
And asking the subconscious, could you tell how it is different for her? How her gifts are different?
More acute.
More acute. Yeah. And may I ask how that has the relation to this lifetime? Why is that relevant to this lifetime?
I'm hearing there's a lack of confidence.
Yes. A lack of confidence in what?
In her abilities.
I see.
And to bring in more of the appreciation of the subtle senses and what the subtle senses can enjoy in life.
When you say, and the subconscious says bring in, what do you mean by that?
Like tastes.
Yes.
Slowing down, tasting more, smelling more.
Yeah. And these are related to how she experiences her life or other people? She. Yeah. And may I ask the subconscious, saying that these gifts are more acute in her, what kind of benefits could that provide her and how she experiences the world and her reality?
Just more full.
More full? A richer experience?
Yes.
Yeah. And in your experience of observing Kema in this lifetime and other lifetimes, was it part of her soul's desire to fully experience her subtle senses in this lifetime?
Yeah, I'm feeling like this weight or this I don't know.
Feeling a weight how? And you're doing great, whatever comes to mind.
It's like somehow something's been dampened.
Yeah. So may I ask, the subconscious has dampened her ability to pick up, dampen this skill that she has?
What I'm getting is just through experiences,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
So certain experiences in this lifetime or other lifetimes?
Both.
Yeah. And has she experienced discomfort of some sort in fully using those subtle senses in the past?
What do you mean? Discomfort using them?
These subtle senses have been dampened or weighted down in some way because of past experiences?
Past and current.
Past and current.
I'm just hearing they don't have room to breathe.
What don't have room to breathe?
This energy.
Which energy is that?
The energy of extrasensory abilities.
I see. And does the subconscious have a suggestion on how Kema could operate with these staying open but being more comfortable and allowing these energies to breathe and flow?
There's got to be a release of some weight.
Mm-hmm. A weight of a past, and is the weight from the actual energies or something that's happened in the past?
Yeah, it's the weight of experiences.
I see. So certain experiences around her subtle energy abilities in the past have generated this weight?
They're impacting her body.
I see. And these experiences, when did they first begin?
What experiences?
The experiences that have created this weight.
Many lifetimes.
Many lifetimes. And what was Kema's soul hoping to experience by, or learn by these experiences?
There's learning in this lifetime around non-attachment.
Yes.
To those experiences.
I see.
As defining her character, or even having to be a limiting factor to her life experience.
I see. And did that occur in past lifetimes?
Yes.
Yes.
Lots of attachment.
Lots of attachment.
To burdens and pains and the story of even like torture.
Yes. And has Kama's soul learned the lesson of those experiences?
She's learning it through the experiences of right now.
I see. And is that weight something that Kama is ready to let go of now? Or is there something more?
Yes, it is her choice, but she doesn't know how to exercise that choice.
I see. And is that asking the subconscious, is that something you can assist her with and heal?
I believe so, yes.
Well, I know the subconscious is fully capable of moving that energy in that block with the higher self's permission.
Yes, we can move it.
Yeah. And would you do that now, please?
Yes.
Yes. And may I ask how, asking the subconscious how you remove this block, could you describe the process to me?
Yeah, it's like moving sludge.
Moving sludge.
There is a pure energetic, like intentional wave of energy that moves through the energy body.
Yes.
And moves it from the crown down out through the feet.
I see.
And it's at about, she can feel it. It's at her thighs right now.
I see. So Kama's actually can physically experience this?
Yes.
Yes. And what impact will this have on her ability to fully utilize her subtle senses?
They will be more clear.
I see. Thank you. So you'll notice that the last portion of the section that just was completed, I actually asked the subconscious how it goes about the healing and clearing process. And this is important for a few reasons. One is you want the individual to actually hear how this healing is taking place, how the energy is being moved, how the cells and the physical body are being worked with, or the energetic template. And it's quite fascinating. The subconscious has actually said that there's nothing that they can't shift or heal if it's appropriate for the learning and evolution of the soul and the individual that we're working with. So we do want to ask the subconscious how it actually is going about doing what it's doing. As I said, a lot of this process is like peeling an onion, and we find that many of the issues that an individual is working with are related or kind of layered and connected in some way. So in this next portion, I'm actually addressing one of the questions that this individual brought into the session, which was about discomfort on the right side of her body, in the shoulder and hips specifically. And we ask the subconscious what is causing that, and the subconscious tells us that it's being caused by stress and tension. And we want to know, when did this begin? Was it in this lifetime or another lifetime? And this is quite fascinating because the subconscious actually reveals that it was from birth in this lifetime, and that stress and tension occurred from an obstruction of the umbilical cord when this individual was a baby and still in utero. Talking about really the phenomenal layers of things and bringing back to this relationship with these really developed intuitive abilities and extrasensory abilities, where this individual has the ability to very acutely pick up on and read subtle energy. We learn a bit about the relationship with the parent, and another process that comes up quite a bit is this the phenomena of transference, where what the mother was actually dealing with on an emotional level, and her lessons at the time of giving birth, and some of her lessons in what she was trying to work through in this lifetime, some of those feelings, and one of those feelings was guilt, that the mother was experiencing, and how that actually got energetically imprinted and transferred onto this individual in the session, and how that is played out in some ways, and also how that is related to this sense that, for example, that she was not aware until this session about the phenomena that happened with the umbilical cord, and also that her mother didn't share that information with her for some different reasons. And we talk about how that energy played out, that sense of guilt with no context, just a general sense of that, of being able to pick up and sense that something was off or not truthful, but really having no mechanism to connect that to a cause, and how that played out in the energetic system. And more importantly, what this individual's soul wanted to learn through having that experience. And the lesson that we find is that, things are temporary, and that there are ways out of situations, that nothing is forever, that perspective and how you deal and approach the challenges in your life, and that you can overcome. So, Kama was asking, we'd like to ask the subconscious, what is causing the discomfort in her right hip, ankle, and shoulder?
Stress and tension.
Yeah. And when did this begin? Is this from this lifetime or others?
Yeah, at birth.
At birth of this lifetime?
Yeah.
And what was occurring at birth of this lifetime that caused this?
Stress and tension. There might have, I don't want to get in the way. I feel like I am seeing an umbilical cord.
She was restricted in some way by the umbilical cord?
Yes.
Yes. And she was experiencing the stress and tension even before she was born?
Yes.
I see. And that still is remaining in her body?
Yes.
That imprint?
Yes.
I see. And what was Kama's soul hoping to learn from that experience of restriction?
That there is a way out.
That there's a way out?
Yeah. I'm hearing my mom knew and didn't tell me because she was ashamed for some reason that happened.
Did Kama's mother think that she caused that in some way?
No, but it was just a guilt because she wanted it to somehow be perfect.
I see, but it was a known thing.
Yep.
That this was an issue.
Yep.
I see. And it has Kama learned whatever lesson her soul was hoping to learn from this experience?
Yes.
Is there more she needs to learn?
There's a transference.
Transference?
With her mom. Not, somehow didn't want to tell out of...
Her mother didn't want to tell her?
Didn't want to tell, no.
Why?
She was embarrassed and ashamed.
I see.
It was beyond her control.
Yes.
She didn't want to seem like a bad mother.
I see.
She didn't want to seem like a bad mother. That was...
the biggest reason?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that was why this was such a tough lifetime for her. Because that is ultimately how she was seen.
As a bad mother?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she tried really hard to make it the opposite.
Yes.
To protect.
And did her mother view herself as a bad mother?
Yes.
Yes.
And she felt that way, yes.
Yeah. And how did that play out for Kama, her mother's relationship or identity of herself as a bad mother?
Just backfired in a million ways.
Yeah.
Because it draws more of that energy to you.
I see.
the more you try to repel it and protect it,
Yes.
the truth will always be seen.
Absolutely. And came a sense that schism in her mother, that untruth.
Yes, she always knew something was hiding.
I see. On many levels in her
Many
family.
levels where things were hiding.
Yeah.
That was ultimately the least of her concerns, but it started from that moment coming into form.
Yes. And how did that make Kema feel as a baby when that happened?
It was a transference of guilt and shame.
And the guilt, has Kema felt guilt in ways because of this transference in her life?
Yes.
In ways that she really has no reason to feel guilt around?
Yes.
I see. And how has Kema experienced that feeling, that general feeling of guilt with no real explanation?
It's a struggle.
Yeah. And is that another lesson that Kema's soul chose to learn from?
Yes.
And could you talk to me about that? I was in the subconscious. What was she hoping to learn from that experience?
Again, there was a way out.
A way out.
It's not permanent. It's
I
not
see.
a permanent state of being.
I see. And is that one of this theme of being able to free herself of certain situations that were restrictive? Is that a theme of her soul?
Victimhood and empowerment.
Yeah, and she asked about that, about how she can heal feeling like a victim.
Yes, again, it started from day one.
I see.
And then it continued to reflect into her reality.
I see.
To confirm that belief to be true.
I see. And really nothing that she did herself consciously.
No.
Yeah.
But programmed, again, yeah.
I see.
Programmed.
And how does that manifest in her body?
Tension throughout her entire body.
Uh-huh.
And contraction, protection, discomfort.
Yeah. And mass the subconscious, is that something you can assist her with and heal and remove from her body now?
Yes.
Yes. And will you do so?
Yes.
Thank you. And may I ask how you're doing this?
Creating space.
How do you do that?
Create space within the cells.
May I ask how you do that? What that looks like?
Infusing light, infusing it's infusing a memory of truth.
I see.
The true essence.
A vibration?
It's a light.
A light.
A light creating space in the cells.
Yes.
To break up the density.
I see.
Giving her body the space to breathe.
I see.
She doesn't know that her body can breathe in this way.
I see.
There are parts that have been dormant and contracted.
Yes.
And it's become the norm.
I see. And what other parts, how else has this been impacting her body, may I ask? These other parts that have been dormant?
A lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
There's numbing.
Yeah.
There's disembodiment. Not wanting to feel.
Yeah.
Because it's been so uncomfortable.
Feeling this guilt and other feelings that weren't hers.
And having no place to put them.
Yeah.
No context.
And is this healing process, removing those feelings from her template and body now?
Most of them.
Yeah, why not all of them?
Still more to learn.
So you were able to witness in that last segment the power of getting to the bottom of what is actually causing something to manifest. And in this case, it was the subconscious revealing not only about the obstruction of the umbilical cord during development, but also the dynamic and transference of patterning and emotion from her mother. Once we were able to get to the bottom of that and what the cause was, and asked when it started, we asked about what the soul lesson was, and that she had learned what she was, or at least partially what she was hoping to learn, and it was something that the subconscious could help release. And this was literally releasing and clearing her of something that was never hers in the first place. These were emotions that were not hers, but those that she had transferred on, and belief systems that had been imprinted onto her and that she was carrying with her, and really through no fault of her own or no action of her own, that were still impacting her life. Now, one of the things that we do when we're working with healing with the client and the subconscious is we ask for progress reports on the healing in the body and the emotional healing. And we will ask the subconscious whether something is completely cleared or healed. A lot of the times the subconscious will reply and tell us that the healing is complete. Sometimes it will say that it's only partially complete, and this was a case of that. And this next segment, I want to get to the bottom of why or what needs to occur for the rest of this healing to occur. And this is a really fascinating point, because the subconscious basically comes back and articulates that there's a choice here to be made, and that there's a free will and a personality level choice, that they can't override that, but there's still some lessons and some self-forgiveness to occur before they can step in and assist with that healing. And it has to do one with the soul's perspective and soul memory. Now, this is another interesting thing when you think about the soul and having these hundreds and thousands of different lifetimes in experience. The goal of the soul is to learn and to grow. And one of the ways it accomplishes this is by having as many diverse experiences as it possibly can. So while in some lifetimes and experiences we have been perpetrated upon, we have been the victim, there's also been lifetimes in many cases where we have been the ones who have been guilty of misuse of power or our free will choice. And this is the case as well, that she is actually having experience or soul memory of having been the perpetrator in some of those situations in previous lifetimes. So with the subconscious, when we ask how she can be assisted in this process, the subconscious talks about it being an issue of forgiveness of the self. That self-love and forgiveness, and giving that to yourself and kind of letting yourself off the hook. Knowing on the larger picture, it's not about not taking responsibility for that, but it's understanding that from the soul's perspective, it's all learning. And also in the final portion of this, when it talks about working with those energies and those patterns that come up, they again come back and say that the solution to this, the way out of this cycle and this trap, is choice and perspective. It's about switching the perspective from, being a victim of things happening to you, to looking at that from the perspective of lessons and choices. What lens would be more useful for me to look at the circumstances of my life? How can I make empowered choice based on those circumstances and my level of consciousness? And how can I take steps that are empowering and loving for myself and for my life?
So more to learn for her own empowerment.
I see.
The victimhood runs deep.
Could you talk to me about that?
There has to be a level of conscious participation.
On her part, as part of her soul's agreement? Yes.
For it to actually get cleared for good.
I see. And may I ask the subconscious if you have any advice for Kayma on how she can best participate and move forward in that process of releasing that?
She has a choice. Deep levels, she doesn't believe she does.
Okay.
This is the deep levels of victimization and guilt.
I see. And where did those start? Where did the victimization start? The feeling.
Many lifetimes.
Yeah.
And there's guilt from many lifetimes.
Guilt over
being the perpetrator.
I see. And is there forgiveness that needs to occur on the soul level for Kema of the times when she was a perpetrator in those lifetimes?
Yes.
Yeah. And is that something that you can assist her with and her higher self can assist her with?
Yes.
And will you do that now, please? Thank you. Back to this this thread of victimhood. You said that she has a choice.
Yes.
And could you talk to me about what that choice is?
Choosing a state of being in any moment.
What kind of state of being?
And transforming it into a teaching.
I see. And does she do that currently?
Not yet.
Yeah. And do you have advice, or could you help her in learning how to do that?
Moving it through the body.
Moving what through the body? The experiences?
Moving the energy, the energetic imprint.
Yes.
There's a judgment, so she can catch herself.
Okay.
Her awareness of victimhood is becoming more and more refined.
How does she experience the feeling when she's experiencing that?
Yeah, but she's judging herself when
see.
she's catching herself. So it's not allowing for the actual healing to occur.
I see. And what would be a healthier way for her to deal with the energy of noticing when that energy comes up on her? You said she's judging that when she notices it now. What's something that she could do that would be more useful for her? How does she avoid judging herself in this process?
Choosing something new.